Bring it down. Cool. All right, we'll get rocking and rolling. Welcome to the Maven Experience. We've got a special guest today, Ben Jensen. We kind of go back a little bit. We've been in the same space for a couple years now. But Ben's a stud. So he is a maven in the real estate industry, up and coming.
Yeah, trying to become a maven. I learned what that word was like 10 minutes ago. So
yeah. So he's on the path to becoming a maven in the real estate game. So I want to hear your journey, but I want to backtrack a little bit. So because we've been in the same industry, or at least you were in sales.
Yeah.
Before you got into the real estate stuff. So start me there. Where did your entrepreneurial journey begin?
Yeah, I mean, it came from you guys pretty much. It was funny. I think we met, in an airport?
Yeah, I think
you
so.
Remember that?
Yeah, I think so.
I was on the way to the Vivint incentive trip in Cancun, and I think I'd followed you. Maybe I knew who you were just by seeing you on the leaderboards and your team at Vivint. It was my rookie year that I just finished, and we were going to Mexico. I had the +1. I was bringing supposed to bring my girlfriend, but she couldn't make it because she was in school. I guess I was too, but I brought my buddy. But I was on a flight, or I was looking for someone, and I saw you sitting there, so I sat down with you.
That's right, dude. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I think that's where I first met you though, because I was never in that I guess we're in the same region, but never the same office or
Different
anything.
Teams.
So yeah, I finished that first year, and we were going to Mexico. But I guess to backtrack, it was all from Adam. I got recruited straight up on one of the social media guys.
Let's go.
It was a wild connection, because all the guys that I was on the team with, it was a really small world how it all ended up working out. But my whole team was just recruited by their buddies from Texas Tech, and I went to OU, so only University of Oklahoma. But everyone else that was there, I mean, I got lucky because I have so many friends at Tech. It was a bunch of mutual connections, but I was just sitting in my room trying to figure out. I think it was my junior year of college, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I had an internship lined up for supply chain management. So I wasn't even looking for a job, but
you were just on TikTok,
literally,
what am I gonna do with my life?
And not even that. I think it was just I had this internship lined up. It was 18 an hour. They hired 75% of their interns after college, and I'm talking to the people that are in that role, and they're making $45,000, $50,000 a year, and it sounds terrible. They're working in operations in a warehouse.
Right.
I was like, "There's no way I can do this." So I just read. I think I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then I started following people, and I saw Adam. I literally just thought he was a real estate guy. I just followed him, and he of course did his whole. It was probably here. I think that the video. If this place built 2 years ago or no?
Yeah. Yep.
It was. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's come do commission-based sales, make $20,000 in the summer, and then I hit him up. I mean, he was rolling in comments. I didn't think I'd actually get a message, but he messaged me, and I hopped on a call. Super long, small world. My brother's friends they had worked for Vivint 2 years prior, so I knew they did door to door, but I was in high school. I didn't know what it was. They were in Montana. They made good money.
Yeah.
But he was trying to recruit me to go, I think, be with Russ on that team, which I was sold on doing. I already told the other people I'm not going to do that internship, and then called my brother's friends, and they're like, "Yeah, we worked for Vivint." I was like, "No way, it's the same thing."
Yeah.
So I asked them. They're like, "Yeah, we're still friends with our manager. We know all the guys on the team. They're in Colorado Springs." So it was really hard because I had to get back on the phone with Adam, who basically sold me on the whole thing. And then I'm like, "Okay, I really want to do this, but I know the guys on this team."
Yeah.
And then it was in Colorado, which is where I was born there. My family was there.
Oh, cool.
So I actually got to see my grandparents that summer too and all that.
That's
but
awesome.
it was a super small world. So I went out there that year.
So you got introduced to it, then all of a sudden all these other people had done it, and people you knew. That happens, which is good. You probably had a good summer because you were with guys that you were familiar with and things like that.
I didn't
did you go
personally know, I guess, any of them. The small world was I showed up. They knew the manager, which was Jay-Z or Jared Zimmerman, but when I got to the home opener kickoff, because this was really late, I was late before. February, so I dropped the internship, was I'm ready to go, but went to the kickoff here in Frisco and met a couple guys that were on the team that my brother used to play baseball with. That was that small world.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I went to Colorado Springs, and I was all online for COVID that year. So I just went as early as possible because I had already gone on one blitz and did really well. So I was like, how fast can I get out here? So
You tasted the money. You're like, all
yeah,
right, let's go. That's
yeah.
cool. And where did you go your first summer?
Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs.
Yep.
They did good that year. You guys did pretty
Yeah,
good.
we
right?
were like the top every like team rookie. So I think we had. I mean, the reason I think I did really well is I obviously went out prepared and studied a lot, but we had like some of the top rookies that whole region. I guess.
Yeah.
What is it, Evolution region? So
yeah.
I was competing against like 4 of the other top dudes. So it was really fun. Like I think at Vegas though we won a lot of those top team, top rookie,
you
top
guys
management.
crushed it. You guys killed it that year. I remember seeing you on the leaderboards.
Yeah.
So Adam, when he initially talked to you, he's like, hey, come do this commission-based thing, make 20 grand in the summer. Did you end up making 20 grand, or where did you fall?
Yeah, it was wild. I think when I did the blitz after that kickoff, I mean, I went out. I didn't really know how it worked. Like most people, I think just show up and shadow what I realized, but I like studied it for weeks prior. He didn't have my iPad ready for a few days, so I had to shadow him for like 3 days, even though I was like wanting to go do. Yeah, so my first day I ended up selling 3, and it was I'd never sold more than 3 in a day, but sold 5 in 3 days and like sold for Springs, and I was doing the math. I was like, holy cow! Like if I can do, I think my goal is just to get 100 sales. So I was like, if I do this, I'll make whatever 75,000.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, how soon can I get out here? And then went out in April, and it was still snowing in Colorado. It was terrible, but eventually all the tech guys got out there, and it was really competitive. But I got a little head start because I went out there early, and then we were in Premier League, that competition, till the day before school started. So I was a top rookie in that region behind Caden, but even though I was 150 sales behind him, probably I finished with 140. So I think I made like just over $90,000.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So it was definitely more than I was expecting, but
That's
it kind of had that goal in mind.
Did you have any? I like to ask people this that get into this industry, because sometimes I think there's some external forces that try to talk us out of the risky commission-based jobs, right? Did you have anybody in your ear that's like, no, take the internship, don't go knock on doors? What, you can do what?
Yeah.
Did you have anybody or did you have a pretty good support group?
A little bit, not like completely. I was pretty lucky. I mean, my dad's in sales, but it's more, it's corporate sales type. He works for a winery, but I don't think I did have my brother in my ear a little bit, which is funny. Not to not go do it. Like I was so set on wanting to be in real estate that I was like, worst, like if I can make 20 grand, even worst case, like that's better than what I'm doing. And if I don't like it, I'll go do another job. Like it was my last summer before graduating, but my goal was like, if I can just make more than what I would in a year, I'm just gonna go do this.
Yeah.
Just because I saw the opportunity. But I would say, like, I know when I was leaving early, my brother's like, oh, don't miss, like, we had formal left, we had like a few other things. My junior year, he's like, well, just finish the year. I'm like, dude, I need to go. Yeah, I gotta go. So other than that though, I mean, my dad was like, just go do it if you think that's what you want to do. Like there was no one really saying other than, I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool. No, I mean, because you know how it is sometimes, right?
Yeah.
We run into that. And my parents, when I started, my mom was like, I can't do sales. It's awkward. Like, I don't get uncomfortable. I don't want to push people to do things. And as you become a sales expert, you understand that you can be a very, very, very successful salesperson and not be pushy. Right?
Yep.
You can be pleasant, be influential, and help people find a product that works for them. So
yeah,
that's cool, man. So you crushed it, almost 100K in the summer, and then. What happened after that? Did that help? Did you put that into real estate? What was kind of your path? Because all of a sudden you were how old?
21. Yeah.
You're 21.
I think so. Yeah. I think I turned 20. Yeah. 21.
21. Almost made $100,000 in 4 months knocking on doors. And then, where did you go from there?
Yeah. So I got back to school in August. I guess I turned 21 like 2 months later when I got back to school. But my whole goal was just to get into real estate. Like I didn't really know how or what. I mean, I'd read the books, like I knew some of the knowledge behind it now. I'm in Oklahoma. I'm from Texas, but I have 1 more year left of school. So I'm like, okay, obviously I'm just going to finish this out.
What sparked your interest in real estate initially?
Literally just reading Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay, cool.
Like, I don't know if I had any specific interest. I mean, I had some people that I knew that were vaguely in it, and I was like, my whole thing was like, own enough houses making $500 a month, you'll have passive income and you can retire. Yeah. I wasn't really thinking like all the other stuff. But I think that was the original, but that book kind of changed my mindset. Cause I mean, I grew up, make good grades, go to school, did all A's in high school, college, and then I was like, what is this gonna get me? I don't know.
Take the corporate route.
Yeah, so it was definitely that book, and then when I started reaching out to or following people like Adam and seeing other people, I'm like opened up my eyes a lot more. But yeah, got back to school, and that was the first goal. I was like, okay, now I have this. Like, I actually got to execute on it. So I got in touch with the agent there, told them what I was looking for, was going to try and just house hack. I was like, all right, let me get a house I'll put 5% down on, primarily in Oklahoma City, which isn't really where OU's like 30 minutes south. So it's in Norman.
Yeah.
But Oklahoma City, it's cheap. I was like, I have friends that are going to graduate and live there. Like, why don't I just live in it, rent it out to them, and then I'll move out, do it again. But I never looked in Norman until that was when the market was going crazy. Like COVID, interest rates were
21.
Yeah. So the interest rates were like 3%. So I mean, you had to. That's why I had an agent on it too. But like when they got posted, it was gone in eight hours.
Wow.
Like either
couldn't get it.
Yeah. Unless it was just overpriced, then it would be sitting there. But I started looking at Oklahoma City, put in offers. Like some fell through, some were just I got beat out. Like I was literally getting over. It was when they were getting overbid, which is so crazy to think now. But
cash buyers from California coming in and just
I guess it was crazy. So I looked at Norman and I saw this house was sitting on the market for like 2 weeks. I'm like, what the heck? It looked nice. It was like 2-bed, 2-bath. I kind of wanted 3-bed. It had like big backyard. It was right by me. And I'm like, this looks like it could be a cool Airbnb, but I didn't know anything about Airbnb. So I started like doing more research because I wanted to be more house hack passive type thing.
Right.
And I reached out to a buddy of mine. His dad had like 2 Airbnbs. So I just broke down the numbers with him. He's like, yeah, this could kill it. Like, I don't see why not. So then I was like, okay, I'll live there, do the whole house hack rent for my friends. And then basically ended up, we moved to Dallas, did all the other stuff. The story went on, but turned it into an Airbnb. And I've been having it, I think, run on there for like 2 years now.
Oh, cool.
And it kills it. I mean, OU, there's a lot of people with a lot of money that come down for football games and just travel in general. So
that's cool. What's your average take home a month on that property?
I'd say in the last 2 years, like net profit over around a little over $1,000 a month.
Cool.
So I mean the prime time football games, I'm just charging like $1,000 a night. Dang. So these parents, I mean, it can sleep 6 people. It's got a big backyard. It's it's a cool spot next to campus, but I mean, you can't. There's like one hotel that's nice in Norman. So I just match it with those, or go even more. But typically, I mean, it can be
supply and demand, right?
Yeah, it can be 3,000 to 4,000 net profit on those big months, and then slower months it could be like really slow months you're breaking even, and then other months it's like 1,000.
That's cool. So you're seeing more profit on the short term versus doing like a long term rental.
Yeah, I think I could probably make like $300 to $400 a month as a long-term rental.
Yeah, that's cool.
But like, I like it. I go up there too and go to the games. So,
well, do you think is there any benefit with doing a short-term versus long-term as far as the property value? Because I mean, well, what I mean by that is when you're doing Airbnb, like the property's constantly being cleaned, and where sometimes renters can get in there and maybe they kind of mess it up. But then too with Airbnb, sometimes you get these college kids coming in and throwing parties too. So
yeah,
I guess there's pros and cons to both. But what do you like better, long term or short term?
I think it just depends on the property. Which I also was thinking about that too. With Airbnb, I'm getting all families. I've really had no bad. I've had maybe one bad tenant. There's no college people. Those kids are at the fraternity house. They have no reason to want to book my Airbnb.
True.
And then I usually do a 2-night minimum, so it's like they're not just coming in for one night,
quick
throwing
rager.
a party, and then just dipping. But for that, it just made way more sense as a short term. I have 4 long-term rentals right now that I've got this year just from all the real estate I've been doing, but those are just I didn't want to put more capital into it. They're maybe not great Airbnb. The counties in Texas are getting weird with the Airbnb laws. So I just didn't want to mess with it. But if you want the actual cash flow, you definitely got to go Airbnb. It just takes more setup.
Right.
Got to get the systems in place to make sure it's relatively passive. Just a lot more.
And to furnish an Airbnb, I guess depends on the size of the home. But how much did it cost you to furnish your Airbnb? Remember?
Yeah, I had stuff come up that I was full on just figure it out as I go. But I was budgeting for $8,000 to $9,000, and then they had this shed in the backyard. I had to put electrical in because I wanted to kind of deck it out, make a man cave.
That's cool.
So I put a little more into that. Had to fix the front steps because there was a liability there on the that. So I probably ended up doing $13,000 to $14,000, $15,000 maybe to get it all done. But I'd say you could furnish a 3-bed, 2-bath house with like $8,000 maybe.
That's cool. Love it, dude. And so now actually, I was going to ask you, did you hear, did Dallas
They extended
switch
it.
their thing on the Airbnb law or whatever?
Yeah, they were trying to ban it completely, and there's a ton of big Airbnb hitters, I think, that live in Dallas, actually. So there's like alliance going against it, and they extended it. Basically, I don't know if they deemed it like unconstitutional, but
That's what I heard.
it's another 6 months that they're like waiting until they can ban anything
Like,
there.
we the people, no,
Yeah.
can't take it from us. That's cool.
Yeah.
And then you have four. You said 4 other rental properties, long-term rental properties.
I have, so that the one in OU I bought like conventionally, just did a normal mortgage on it. Co-signed with my dad because I just had the income from that summer at Vivint. And then did solar that next year and was trying to get more into real estate because, I mean, we did well there, but I was like, I still gravitated towards doing real estate. So I figured out more of the creative stuff, like subject to seller finance, how to not have to get a loan. So I ended up getting deep into that, started wholesaling, and then bought a 4-plex at a 3% interest rate subject to. So I took over guys' payments he was behind on the payments. I owned that one with my brother and another partner, and then bought one in Houston, same thing. It's just a single family house that's a long-term rental. And then another one in Houston, it's a long-term rental. One in Euless here, seller finance. That one's a 0% interest rate.
Dang, that's crazy.
So those, I think that's all. And then I have one more Airbnb that I arbitrage. So I don't actually own that one.
Oh, cool. Airbnb arbitrage is where you were renting it, and then the landlord gave you permission to Airbnb it.
Yeah, yeah.
How's that one do?
It's not bad. It's kind of fell in my lap. It's a unique situation. It's like a family friend that decked out this house. I think just wanted to do the project, and it's like, I don't know how to do Airbnb. I don't have the time. He's like, got a
Just
W2
pay my
job.
mortgage. Yeah.
Exactly. And my dad's like, talk to Ben. So I just threw it on there. I was like, the numbers check out. So it's pretty new. It's like 3 months, but it did really well the first month. Like cash flowed over 2,000. December through February, just like slower months in general for Airbnb.
People are home for the holidays and stuff.
Yeah.
The 4-plex. The guy was behind on his payments on the 4-plex. Was it not getting covered by the tenants, or what was the situation?
I know that was where I was weird. I was like, why is this like what's happening here? But that's pretty much every deal that we're getting like that is because we're solving some sort of problem. Like you can't really find these deals on the market, right? That's how we've gotten. We're so much finding these off market foreclosures, people that like inherited it. But this guy, I mean, I think my brother found it right when I got him into real estate. He like cold called someone on a for sale by owner website. So it was a crazy connect, like literally the second call I think he ever made. 4 months of follow up with this guy to get it under contract. But he was bought it with a VA loan and was living in a unit trying to rent out the other one. So 2 of them were rented. One was vacant, and then he was living in one. So he was trying to house hack it.
Yeah.
And then he like tried to get into a trucking business, did the whole like forbearance. I'm not going to pay my mortgage during COVID.
Oh man.
Yeah. And then put all his money into his trucking business and couldn't pay. So he's like 30 grand behind. So I was like, it's 3% interest rate. We'll catch it up, give you a few $1,000s and take over the payment. So that's what subject to is. You buy it, you have all the ownership, but I took over that financing.
Right.
And then we fixed it up a little bit, kept 2 tenants in there and put 2 more in the other ones.
That's cool. Subject to, the first time I heard that was from Pace.
Yep.
What's his last name?
Morby.
Yeah, he's the one that kind of coined the term, right? Subject to, or is that?
No, it's been a thing forever, but man, he's genius because he blew it up. And I mean, that's how I figured out what it was. I joined his mentorship in like December. I had all this like money from door to door now from solar. And I'm like, let me just fast track this. So I bought into that program, which it definitely helped. I mean, it helped with the knowledge network. And then I met another guy that was doing it when I actually went out and started knocking doors. And then I got deeper into it from him. But yeah, Pace is like, he's basically the face of subject to.
Yeah.
So
his marketing and branding, he's done. I've been following him for a long time, just behind the scenes on social media, and it's been cool.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Didn't he start out in solar?
No,
back in the day.
Maybe he was a contractor. So
okay.
He is like a Utah or Idaho Mormon family.
He's friends with my wife's brother.
No way.
Family. That's how I heard about him. One of my wife's cousins was moving to Arizona to go work with him.
Really?
But I don't know if it was on the sales side or if it was something with real estate. But
No, yeah, he was a contractor for like he would do fix and flips, but he wasn't like, he was basically a general contractor. So he'd be making the money for the fix up, but he wasn't doing the big like, oh, I'm gonna actually buy the house or I'm gonna flip it. And then he's like, okay, I'm gonna be in real estate. And then he actually started doing that. But yeah, Subject 2 has been around a while. It's just more popular now with the interest rates being so high.
Because essentially you're making a deal with the owner, right? And it's kind of no banks involved. It's just between you two.
Yeah. Well, instead of getting a loan to pay off the existing loan, usually when you buy a house, you take title and deed, but then they get a loan to pay off the other one, right? But with this, you're taking the deed and you own it. So there's title companies and, paperwork that you have to do to draft it correctly, but you leave their mortgage in their name. So that's why I don't have to go get qualified. That's why I don't have to go get another loan. I don't have to get the current 7 and 8% interest rate. I'm just taking over whatever they had. So I don't have, it doesn't reflect on my debt to income, which is why a normal person would never sell you, like normal situation, they wouldn't sell you the house this way. But if they're behind on their payments, they got 2 weeks till a foreclosure or they're low equity where they can't make any money on it, then it makes sense. Okay. It benefits them.
You're looking for people that are like, they need it. They're motivated sellers.
And it does help them because if not, they're getting foreclosed on or they are losing money.
That's super cool. And so you've been doing the Subject 2 stuff mainly here in Dallas, or do you go all over the country?
No, just Texas. So we pay for a list that all
you're
this
in
comes
Houston.
And like some of these houses, most of my deals I've never seen.
Really?
Like never been there. But I'm in a network that's all Texas people. So like I can text in there and say, hey, who's in Houston that can get me a contractor or property management? And then like that's pretty crucial because if you don't have that network, like I never would have been able to do any of those deals.
It's crazy how I was talking about this last night at dinner. A lot of times it's not what you know, it's who you know, it's your network, and being able to get yourself out there around the people that are doing what you want to do.
Right.
Now with now you're mainly dabbling in wholesaling. Is that kind of your like niche right now?
Well, it's all we're doing. I just pick up the ones that are good. So like the ones I held on to was me trying to wholesale. I just came across a deal that I'm like,
oh, I would actually,
I could wholesale this and make like 5 or 10,000, or I can hold it and have $500 a month, all the equity, all the tax benefits. It's like, if it's just like a really good deal, just hold on to it.
Yeah.
But the actual money, because I got to make money too, is coming from wholesaling. So those are just deals we get under contract, and then we assign it, meaning you just, you take the contract as the buyer, you assign it to someone else for a fee, which ends up being, depending on the deal, it can be anywhere from 5,000 up to like 50, 100,000, right?
Pretty big, right?
It just, you got to make sure your numbers check out, and if someone will buy it at this price, I just make the difference.
Okay.
So
what happens if you can't find a buyer? Is there a time limit? Because you're essentially making an agreement that, hey, I'm going to purchase your home at this price.
Yeah.
And you're flipping it to somebody else for like a flipper or somebody that's going to, right? Is there a time period where you have to find somebody?
Yeah. So it's called the option period on any contract. Just like whenever you bought did you buy the house in Prosper or you?
Not right now.
Okay. So like any house you've ever bought, right, is like a termination option. So like when you get under contract, you can put in, typically this is your agent doing it. Like, oh, you have 7 days to do your due diligence, get an inspection on the house, do whatever. When we're working with these, I put like 45 days.
Okay.
So like
you have time.
Yeah. I mean, that's the time frame though. It's like whatever I put in that termination option period, I have to find a buyer by then.
And if you don't, can you back out?
Yeah, just rip up. That happens all the time.
Oh, okay.
Just like solar or alarms, it's not as bad because you're getting it same day install, but like I probably signed like 45, 50 deals, and especially with some of these crazy situations, foreclosure, something happens and it just terminates, or the buyer files bankruptcy, or the wife doesn't sign because they say screw you, like crazy stuff. So
okay. I didn't know if there was like if you agreed to it, then you had to follow through, but you don't. You have 45 days, and you'd be like, hey,
whatever you put on there. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I work with like an agent. They're like, oh, I want to send this to my agent, and their agent's like, oh, they have a 45-day option period. The seller's like, okay, switch that to like 5, and then I'm like, okay, and then I send it directly to like a buyer I know, so I have like 5 days now.
Yeah. Okay.
So it just depends what you have in that time frame. You just want to make sure you're not like out.
Yeah.
On that. Yeah.
That's cool. And then I was going to ask you too, what's the biggest, because I've watched. So you have a podcast too.
Mm-hmm.
We'll plug it. We'll plug
Yeah.
we'll plug Ben's podcast too. Talks all things real estate. But I saw one of your clips where like I don't know if it was your brother or somebody
Mm-hmm.
else, but their assignment fee was massive.
Yeah.
Like how big can these?
It
What's the
can-
biggest one you've seen?
I mean, I've seen in the groups like larger than $100,000, but like it's a little bit of an anomaly. It definitely happens. Like you talk to
Yeah.
enough people, that's just like you hit home runs sometimes. You
Right,
know,
right.
it's like whenever you were selling Vivint, and you like come in a big system, and you're like, oh, this is a 200 burger
Yeah.
or whatever.
Or one
it is.
day the stars align and you rip an 8 spot or something
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly. But yeah, it was my brother. His second deal. I introduced him to wholesaling kind of at the beginning of the year when I was like, hey, I think I'm gonna like go into this, and then we kind of joined that network together because we just paid to be a part of it, so we split that cost. But dude, his second deal, just a house, and it was a high value house in north or by SMU, so like
Okay.
near nice part of Dallas where they're fixing up these like 1960 houses, but they're worth like $1 million when they're fixed up.
Right.
But there's also a lot of these 1960 ones that are like,
they've gone to trash.
yeah, exactly. So he found one that was like trashed, and it was actually at an appointment across the street for someone that wanted like 600,000 for it, and he's like, oh, that's kind of tight. I can't like make that work. And someone did buy it at like 600, like a rundown house, to fix up and flip. And then he looked across the street and saw this rundown, like completely overgrown. Put a note on the door to call me, and this guy that inherited the property called him like I think that day or the day later, and he got it under contract at like 465.
No way.
Wholesaled it for 565.
Dang, $100,000.
Could have made 142. He could have wholesaled it for 600, but he wholesaled it to someone in our network that he knew like she's gonna close on this. He didn't want any like hiccups.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
He was probably pumped. He was hooked after that.
he quit his job like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
I mean, he made probably $75K a year, and he made his first wholesale deal was cold calling. He made like 16 grand,
Yeah.
and then he found that one. So he's like 2 months in, like
He's hooked.
just doubled my income in 2 months. So
Crazy.
yeah, he went all in with me after that.
That's cool. And how long you guys been working together now? Like a year or two now with the wholesale
No, we
stuff?
started this like in May or April.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, to like full time kind of.
Yeah.
Because I was supposed to be doing solar this whole summer. Like I had a team coming out from OU. They were graduating. Like I thought I was kind of in that like off season period where we were doing blitzes.
Right.
And I think from March or February, I ran into that guy, started knocking on some foreclosures, and got like a few wholesale deals that were each $30,000 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh shoot. Like,
I got something going.
yeah, exactly. So then I got like pretty busy with it, and I had these guys coming out in May. I was still planning. I'm like, okay, I'll do this on the side, and I'll make a lot of money doing solar this summer. And then my first week of solar, I was like, dude, I can't keep, like, my phone was ringing for real estate, and I was like, I like this more.
Yeah.
I can't like not answer this phone, and I can't also manage these guys and
It's a lot.
give them like what they're expecting to get.
That's cool. So you've been going hard for like 6 months. How do you find these foreclosed deals?
There's a list, so you can go straight to a county website if you want, like for free. It's just a lot harder to navigate. You can type in Dallas County foreclosures, pop up. So it's the first Tuesday of every month in Texas that they do like auctions. But they give them at least 21 days notice, so it'll be posted on the county. I mean, they get hit up by investors. Like, like if you think you've knocked on a door in Vivint, everyone's talked to them, or solar, like you're the 10th solar guy. It's no different. Like you get everyone's calling. I feel bad. Like it's terrible, but they do need help. And like if you get it straight from the county site, we're the first ones to talk to them, so go knock. But then we pay for a list that comes out. So like they actually find the address, the number, the person's name, they put it in a list, and they send it out. We paid for that, but
and you can so you have like are you setting up like a call center thing, or you just kind of
we have a CRM.
Okay.
So it's like anyone that's seriously wholesaling has a lot of different marketing. So like now we're had people cold calling for us. Like I had a virtual assistant, people in the Philippines. We have other like bird dogs, you call it, people in that network that are cold calling or door knocking that bring us leads. I had solar guys like going to
looking for deals.
Yeah, exactly. And then we pay for like Facebook ads too. There's other inbound strategies that cost more, but it's like people actually need to sell their house quick. They find your ad, look it up. You could put signs on the street. Like there's literally a million things you could do, but cold calling and door knocking was just like the easiest way to go find one without spending a bunch of money. So it's a CRM system that has like, we'll input a list and you just press next. You keep calling one after another. Yeah.
Streamline it a little bit. So, but you put boots on the ground at first. You're out there knocking doors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cold calling people.
I already knew how to door knock, so I was like, if I can do this, like I'll start with that.
That's cool. What's your long-term game plan, man? I mean, obviously, you're trying to build your real estate portfolio up, or what are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah, I want to kind of automate the wholesale part. I mean, that's like the biggest money making machine that we have. Is just it's a lot of pieces whereas door to door, like you can get plugged in, shadow a guy, and then go learn how to sell and kind of just get it going. Which I have people come door knock with me all the time now in real estate. They're like, "Hey, can I come shadow you?" Because I know I did door to door sales. But usually they're just bringing me a lead. I'll close it, and then we'll split it with them. But, I mean, I think automating that part to where we can get leads coming in, have other people closing it, doing the paperwork, and then kind of have that running on its own, I think would be a goal eventually. We're not there yet, but and then buying all the ones that we want.
Keeping the good deals.
Yeah, getting into multifamily, commercial, doing bigger stuff there.
Do you like the vacation style, like vacation homes, Airbnb style like that, or?
Yeah, I've gotten into it a little bit with this guy, and I haven't even really touched on this much, but guy I met, wholesales all like Airbnb arbitrage properties. Okay. It's kind of a whole nother market, but we're trying to get more into that too.
Wait, hold on, say that again. He does what? He wholesales
Yeah, this is like, he's literally in his own niche. I haven't even said anything about this because it's actually mind-blowing what he's doing. But
special release here. Yeah. You heard it here first, guys.
Basically, he's quit his 9-to-5 doing arbitrage. So he had like 15 properties, was making 30, 40K a month just passively on that. And then a lot of people want to find these landlords, that like are open to letting you Airbnb it. So he started realizing like some of he's like, oh, I'll pay this much to have this done for you property. And so he's like, here you go, here you go, here you go. Like he was good at the sales part. So he just started consulting for other people, like it's already set up, here you go, or sometimes they're not, but pretty much puts a fee on top of it and gives it to someone that wants to run it on Airbnb. Nice. And then he connected with like people in, Tulum, Cabo, like all these agents, crazy properties that are very high end.
International too.
Yeah. So it's another thing that we're looking to do there too.
That's awesome. And what do you do for fun, dude? Just other than like find real estate. When Ben has downtime, what are you doing?
I'm active. I'm in the gym every morning. I live in uptown with a buddy that sold Vivint with me too, and then he was doing solar. My brother lives down the road. My girlfriend's up there. So we're always doing stuff, playing pickleball, going out, doing whatever. But I don't know. We could work all day. I just try not to do that.
I know, right? It's like a balance, but we are in that like hustle stage of life. I feel like, right? Like, I think there's a lot of 20-year-olds that they're trying to chill right now. They're trying to avoid the hard work. They're trying to have the jobs that are just easiest job possible, and then I think it's going to catch up to them.
Yeah, definitely don't run into that much at Vivint because people that took a risk and willing to go freaking knock on doors to make their income is crazy, or crazy to most people.
Yeah.
Until they see like the culture. You guys have put like, I see all your stuff. Obviously there's a reason people like want to work here.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I'm curious too. I know you're asking me all the questions.
Yeah.
Because you've been in, how long have you been in the industry?
14 years.
Okay. So were you like straight? Were you like a BYU up in something? Were you like return missionary? When did you start?
Yeah. So I went to Utah Valley University, which is like for the kids that didn't make the cut at BYU.
No, I've heard.
So I went there for one semester.
Okay.
Initially was going to go I wanted to be a dentist. My uncle was a dentist.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go in dentistry. And so I just started my college, route. And then after my first semester, one of my high school buddies was selling door to door for Vivint. And
was it called Vivint then? Yeah.
It was called Apex.
It was Apex?
Apex Alarm, 2010.
Where was your first summer at?
Virginia Beach, Virginia.
That wasn't with, I'm trying to think. That gets crazy because how old are you?
37.
The guy that I met that does all the real estate stuff with me, literally, his first summer was Apex. I want to say it was I can't remember, but he's around the same age.
What's his name?
Grant Gale. But he's probably he was like an Idaho, Utah guy. Went to somewhere there, but that's funny.
Cool.
So you did your first year right out of
college. Yeah. Well, so I dropped after my first summer. I dropped out
because of Vivint or no?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, because of dentistry. I'm like, okay, dentist. I know they make because my thing was I want to have a good, comfortable life, right? I wanted to have the nice things. I want to have the cabins and the vacation homes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to be a doctor because that's just too crazy. But I was like, dentist. All you got to worry about is teeth. So that was my long-term game plan, and then found commission-based job because up until that point I was just looking for the next job that paid me the most money per hour. That's all I could relate to was per hour. That's how we calculated a good job. What do you make an hour? What do you make an hour? And then all of a sudden my buddy's like, dude, you can knock some doors, sell them a security system, and make, back then it was like $300.
You're like, no, what? Inflation. I mean,
yeah,
that's
$300. And I was like, oh, okay, well, like, and he's like, and it doesn't matter how many you sell, they'll pay you. Like, there's no cap. And that's when my mind was like, the hourly mindset just left my brain at that point. And I was like, I'm a grinder. I've got confidence in myself and my abilities. I'm going to bet on myself and go out there and grind, and I'm going to make sure I make more than whatever hourly job.
So did you drop
before
college before going, or did you do a summer and then quit?
As soon as school was up, I went out to do summer. Sold 176 my rookie season.
That's it.
Which back then was like 90 grand. Yeah, that's it. So made 90,000 my first summer, like you, and then I was like, why am I going to go back to school?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, if that happened to me freshman year, I don't know if I could have justified finishing.
Yeah.
But,
well, because what I saw that like Adam and my managers were making well over six figures, and
was he your direct manager?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yep. And then me and him managed teams together after that for 4 or 5 years.
That's crazy.
Me and Adam. So, but yeah, so we at that point I was like, yeah, I need to get to the leadership position because he's making 150, 200 grand, which is what dentists are making. But he's like running around with a bunch of college kids doing sales.
And how many years did you have to go to?
Yeah, and I can skip 10 years of college and dental school and hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. I was like, this is my path.
Yeah.
It just looked way more fun, way more entertaining.
Yeah.
And then I just made sure that I kept hitting the milestones I needed to hit to get to those positions.
Was it easy to recruit not being back in college, or did you just go back to those universities?
What's funny is my sophomore season. So after my rookie year, they're like, I was like the top rookie, and they're like, get you into leadership,
push you.
And I ended up bringing on like 15 guys my second year.
Yeah.
Which were like a couple guys from high school, a couple guys from like my mission that I served for my church. And yeah, we did okay then, and then just was always active recruiting after that. So
that's how I came back, and every kid was like, I went directly to a few kids I knew would be studs, which ended up working, and then it just like turned a wildfire. They were like, if I can make half what you did, I'll be happy. But I mean, we were pushing the blitzes, going all out there. I think I had like 15 to 20 guys, and then we did the whole switch to solar, and like half of them in Dallas knocking in the heat, and they live in Dallas. They're like, yeah, I'm not doing this.
Yeah. You got to get out of town.
Yeah. That I wish in a way, like, I mean, it all worked out. I wouldn't change anything, but it would have been fun. We were going to be in Colorado again. And like, I think more people would have stuck it out, but just didn't work out that way. So
it all happens for a reason, right? We make it work. So, well, cool, man. Anything else you want to go over?
I mean, I don't know. I think the sales stuff in general, whether it's alarms, solar, real estate, it all kind of parallels. I don't know what most of your audience, I would assume most of your audience is doing door to door. So
sales
probably
guys,
all have the same mindset, but I don't know. I'm just curious if like when you're managing, cause how many teams do you have under you?
So technically 3.
Technically
3. Yeah. We've last year we had 4.
Okay.
Last year I had 4, but one of the teams ended up joining halfway through.
Yeah, they kind of conjoined.
Just kind of
Was that what markets were they?
Jacksonville, Florida, was where I was at. Then I had my guy Nick Turner in Tallahassee, Florida.
Okay.
Russ Smoot was in Cleveland, and then Damian Lancaster was in Pittsburgh. So those were the 4.
Okay.
The 4
Philadelphia, Philadelphia,
yeah.
or yeah,
Philly.
Jeez,
Yeah.
How was that? Is that the people that can join?
They did okay, but they're like, halfway through the summer, they're like, we got to get. And they came down to Jacksonville with me because they were with me the year before.
Right.
So they just came back to Jacksonville and like, let's go back home and finish the summer strong. Yeah.
That's
so which happens, right? I mean, that stuff happens all the time. It's
yeah, I mean, that's good that they did well in Cleveland because I know people that were there before had a kind of rough rough market.
Yeah, Russell's group crushed Cleveland.
Yeah.
Did good.
I mean, you get some people say don't worry about the area. I don't know. Like I try not to, but I always I got lucky being in Colorado Springs. I was like military. It was perfect, conservative. Like I don't know. It was a beautiful area. I got lucky being there, but who knows what would have happened if we were in a different market.
Just like anything that, whatever your perception of it is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Your reality, your perception's your reality, right? So I teach my guys that we all have our preferences, like certain areas that we like better than others, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can also, on the flip side, if you're negative about the situation, then it's going to be negative.
Yeah.
So
is there stuff that you do directly with your guys, because you were in Jacksonville, were you focused mainly on that market, or do you just travel to
I was in Jacksonville full time. Yeah, I went to Tallahassee. They're like 2 hours away.
Okay.
So I think I went there twice just to hang out with them for a day and do some trainings and stuff. But yeah, my entire group got some just badass leaders, and so dude, they got it.
Yeah,
they don't need me, so I just freaking hammered the team and keep things going. And yeah, dude, it's been an adventure. Doing door-to-door sales for 14, going on 15 years now. It's sometimes I'm like. How many doors have I knocked on in my career?
I know, and that whole time I was looking at that, like Adam was posting about that. During the 14 years, did you ever just because I mean, you've been with Vivint the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever think? I feel like I've always had when I was doing this, I'm like, okay, there's no other better opportunity. I'm not even trying to find grass is greener. I think I just always gravitated towards real estate. But did you never think, oh, I'm gonna go do a normal job, or am I gonna do something else?
Dude, the money was so good that there wasn't really anything else. And I'm more conservative too. So if anything was if I felt like it was super high risk, I'm just like, dude, I'm making $250,000 here in a summer. When you're in management, it's more of a year-round thing, right? But I'm like, do I want to take the risk and go somewhere else and maybe make $300,000 to $400,000? But for me, the lifestyle wouldn't be really any different. And so I was like, I know it. I'm comfortable with it. The company's not going anywhere. Been around forever. There's some security there, I see some of these other guys that jump to go do solar, right? The solar gold rush came, which is cool. We do that too, right?
Yeah.
So we take advantage of it. But some of my guys that left 4 or 5 years ago to go do solar,
are they still in door to door?
Bro, some of the ones that have minimum been with 5 or 6 different solar companies now.
Right.
It's so they can never get their grassroots deep and grow. They're always uprooting and what's your red line? Hopping red lines and run around.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, we see it all the time. I mean, I was there short lived, but that was the hardest part about leaving Vivint. I was like, that changed all of our lives. We thought it was awesome. At the same time, we're like, we get to live in Dallas. We get to do it year round. We kind of bet on ourselves too. But I mean, there's definitely I see that all the time with people. But
there was one point where not a lot of people know this, but me and Adam almost left Vivint 9 years ago. So
no one who watches this podcast.
Everybody. Hey, everybody. Now I mean,
9 years ago. That's before all the. I was gonna say it. That's a while ago. Still, was it for solar or something else?
No. So we had a buddy that had started his own insulation company. Where they just knock on doors and spray attics, re-insulate people's attics.
Oh, insulation, not installation.
Yeah, insulation.
I thought you were saying I was going to go direct to a dealer program.
No. So they were, and there was some the government would pay for a majority of it because it was
a tax
for energy.
That's literally solar. Because half the time in solar, people had these old houses with terrible, super high electric bills.
Yeah.
We're throwing a ton of panels on the roof. And I learned later now I'm in real estate, I'm like, these people just need insulation for their, you know what I mean? Their
make
utility bills.
More,
yeah.
So we were going to do that because he was, he's like, the customers don't even pay for it. The government pays for it.
Right.
And he's like, he's making really good money. So he's like, he was offering to have me and Adam come in and instantly be regionals of the company and have equity and stuff. And we told our regional that we were going to leave, and he didn't let it happen.
Was it Cheyenne?
Yeah. Yeah. He took us to his house, and for a couple hours, he was like,
"Yeah,
you're not going anywhere." And he helped us kind of repaint our, what our vision was and where the company was headed. And we're like, okay. And me and Adam both grateful that we stayed. So.
Yeah, I've had that. I had that conversation when I was leaving too, and I'm like, this is tough. I just think, I don't know, for if you're going to be managing, staying one spot, that's definitely a good way to go, especially with a company that you guys have. I was like, I gotta go do real estate some way. I used it all as like a path to just try and
I love
get in
that.
there,
I
but-
love that. And dude, I feel like with our personalities and the way that we are, I think we crush whatever we do.
Yeah.
Real estate, Vivint, solar, insulation, like.
So is the installations thing is that still a thing? Do you know whatever happened with it?
So they ended up, the two guys that were the partners ended up falling out. I don't know the full story. I haven't really caught up with them yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think they ended up selling the company a little bit after that, and I'm sure they came out with some money, but they're not doing it anymore.
Yeah, I was just wondering. I haven't ran into any door-to-door installation guys.
It was like this weird, this like short-term thing, and they had trucks. They like bought trucks and stuff, and they'd come in there with a big old hose and just shoot insulation into people's attics. And we went out there and did a blitz with them, like just to see how it went. And it was kind of cool. I mean, they're like, they'd go up in the attic and they're like, yeah, your insulation's only this high. We got to get it to where it's this thick so you can save energy. So your energy bill goes down and help you be more energy efficient. But yeah, we decided to stick with what we do, and it's been fun.
It's funny.
Yeah.
That's just such a small world. There's door-to-door for everything.
Dude, there is. And it is not for everybody. Like, not everybody can hack it. Like, if you're going to get into the direct-to-home sales game, you have to be very self-driven.
Oh, yeah.
And you've got to know that you want more than average. You have to have that desire to be more than average, like, which not everybody does, which is cool.
Yeah.
Like, we need all types of people in this world for the world to function.
That is true.
But I don't want to be on the average
Need the
side.
people on the other side of the door that are going to buy it from us.
Yeah, exactly. We need the buyers. We need all that. So, love it, dude. Well, thanks for coming in. I think we're going to have to do a part 2.
Maybe.
Come back and rehash it up. But
Yeah.
appreciate you coming in. If you guys want to connect with Ben, we'll put his socials in the description, and we'll see you guys next time.
Appreciate it.
Peace. If you like the podcast and you want to see another one, click right here. If you want to see some of our other content, click right here.